Thank you for being invited for this session, and I'm going to be talking about the next 10 years. We've been 10 years in business and we've seen quite a few things along the way, and who knows what we're going to see in the next 10 years. It's going to be interesting. Like a lot of other people, I started out dreaming about the CG early, and as we can see, the evolution has been vast, looking at the VR scans and all the algorithms for calculating light and handling the CG production. I started early with command line, starting 3ds Max and doing like backdrops for friends, parents, and so on for the family, and having a big interest in computer games. Then as a professional, I became a product designer, product design engineering, and that's becoming quite useful because the whole industry is becoming industrialized. That's what we can see. And currently, I'm one of the founders working with Industriromantik. Let me see next. There we go. And we've 11 people on the fixed staff and 5 more on contracts for development and production. And we're looking at more as well for 2016. And to give you just a little perspective of what we do, I'm thinking we can spend a minute roughly just to check out the reel. Hopefully. So that was kind of the past, what we've done recently, and the most interesting thing would be what's going to happen with us and what's going to happen with the business. And what we can see is Simon, what you're doing now with the VR scans, it's going to be very high detail. It's going to be what we can see, or what I can see, is an industrialization of the whole business. We need to look at how you manufacture things in real life and adapt to that, because we want to mimic the way we do things real life, and that also becomes looking at how we do things in production. For the industrial production, I'm gonna introduce a case for Volvo Cars. We've worked with the corporate communications, and we've been kind of outside the normal production for marketing and for other purposes, where we have a DigiCar process where the interior is completely defined, and the exterior as well, and different options. But what we've done is we've been focusing on some more detail, and we've been kind of back to basis for my part, working as a product designer and engineer. A lot of communication with the development departments, because we need to extract and find all the CAD data. We need to verify. We need to find the correct people within the organization. So even though the contracts are conducted through marketing and corporate communications, we're totally dependent on the development. And looking at Volvo, you would think that everything is developed at Volvo, but it's not, because they have sub-suppliers, which means some they do not want to, a compressor might not, they don't want to do it, they don't want to leave the CAD to us. Then we have a problem with timeline and so on. So basically, the integrated product development is the idea that both marketing and all the technical development kind of works together to bring the product and all the communication out to the public. So I'm pressing. So what we're going to look at is the Drive E technology, which is the engine architecture that we've seen now in a few different iterations. And we're also going to look at some of the technical features that were communicated when the XC90 was launched. So here we go. First off, we have, it's really slow, this one, or I'm too, not strong enough. Okay, let's go to arrows. Okay, so this is the high performance petrol engine. And what you can see is the blue light is showing the regular turbo flow. And then we did split up the compressor to add the boost from the compressor. What this means is you have a turbo and you have a compressor, and because you don't want to have, when you press the gas, if you want to do a takeover, for instance, when you press the gas pedal, you don't want to have any lag. You want to have instant response from the engine, and that's when the compressor kicks in. So you don't have any lag. You're gonna have an instant boost, because the Americans they tend to like 6-cylinder engines, but the Drive E architecture is based on 4 and 3, which brings much less fuel consumption. So that was one of the challenges in this production. And then we have the diesel, the high-performance diesel engine, which carries double turbochargers. And the latest one in this evolution, we have the 3-cylinder hybrid, and it's kind of the latest. It's very efficient, and you can mix electricity, and it will take force from retardation and so on. And we're extremely happy to use version 3.3 of V-Ray for this production. We just wrapped it yesterday. We're going to just see some small sequences from this production. But I can tell you, on our end, we've seen, like, we use 20% of the render time for each frame, with almost better noise levels and everything kind of, let's go. So it was a mixture because of the time frame was very, very fast, but we were prepared, and also had Google Compute Engine to help boost the renderings. So yeah. And we cleared with corporate communications, so we can just, give you a small hint. So here we go. to the newsroom at Volvo Cars within a week or two. They should be arriving there. We've previously done some more work on power pulse and other parts. Also, I wanted to show the... let's give up on the remote. So, for the XC90, it was a very tough one from a communication standpoint, because they wanted to reveal first the interior and then all the technical features of the car before the reveal, just to build up expectations. So I'm not going to show it now, but we had problems creating moving pictures without the exterior body parts. It was kind of a challenge, but yeah. Anyways, this is also a fruit from having a lot of meetings with the development departments. The green composite is, there are no springs in the rear, it's a leaf suspension, which is very unique for the automotive business. We showed the cage in different colors, red indicating the hardest ones to protect the passengers, the green to have deformation zones, thus the most flexible ones. Also the layout of the speakers, when you have, you know, all you can eat buffet on speakers, and all the airbags. Also in the front, some new features. This was the double wishbone suspension, and they wanted to have an image for that as well. Also the powertrain for regular modes, and also for the hybrid, catering a electrical motor in the rear and regular in the front, and they can also work together. So it's a buffet of CAD to be translated and used, and also a bit hard to find reference material, but yeah, everyone worked together. Also showing inside of batteries with fuel cells, not fuel cells, battery cells. And basically this becomes in the end a good case for industrial CD production, because they had, for instance, one additional engine. I just showed you like the extremes, the high-performance diesel and petrol and the 3-cylinder hybrid, but there are quite a few in the range, and it meant that we can take basically a CAD from one new engine from a CAD perspective and be prepared with all the material, and basically the day after, or 2 days, we can have images for review, which is fairly good. And I think this is, I mean, looking at, we're going to see some more with IKEA and from Sony. It's going to be interesting to see, but the whole business is really about industrialization, and that's really what we can see. And this is a good example where in the beginning it's always hard on a short schedule to establish all the materials, like you, Simon, going through all the details with flakes and having reference materials, and having a short starting track. It can be it can be very painful at times. So that's what we want to avoid, because everybody wants to have control of their budgets. They want to have an expected result and good lead times. So that's when we come to this that was mentioned in the title of the presentation. I mean, if you just work and you think you work really hard and long hours, but in the end you become less efficient because you're not working smart. And that's the whole idea of industrialization. So you don't spend time redoing things. It should be predefined, and it should be very, you should expect always what to get from your assets. So basically we need to focus on the flow, of CGI production as well, just like the industry does. And that means having the best flow from asset to a finished image or what have you. And basically it narrows down to the assets. So this is really the essence that we strive for, to work smart and create more value by working smart. Because, I mean, like we saw, I think 10 years back, it was hard to even raise these kind of questions within organizations. And I mean, raising and having discussions regarding budgets and technology with the marketing department can be very hard because they're not engineers, they just want their image on time, and explaining why things take more time, why we haven't have a complete setup of CAD and so on, that can be very, very painful. So once again, having an industrial perspective and working throughout the whole organization means, like, I'm taking you as an example, Simon, but it's just because it's very technical and it's better to, you know, talk directly to the engineers. So the marketing department, okay, when are you done? When can we see the finished? But they don't even communicate. There's a finished digital asset and then it's ready to go. So this guy, anyone know who it is? No. His name is Niklas Modig, and he's a pioneer in the lean area, and he was the first gaijin, pale face, to be led into Toyota and the production facilities, and he's really focused on the flow of things and how you can optimize it, but it's not a finished project. It's just as a way of looking at how you do things and always improve, and that's really the essence of what this industry has to do as well, and also the people working, you know, using the assets. So I think this is a good image. It says a lot of things. If you're not prepared at this stage, you're going to end up having problems, right? If you start assembling the car and, you know, okay, well, we're not really finished with these things, and we lack 5 fabrics at this point. The whole assembly line, the whole production will just halt. It's not going to work out. Another thing, before starting at Industriromantik, I was working as a consultant, and there is actually the people working on the assembly line. They know exactly what to do, and they know it the first car that comes up on the assembly line because they've done virtual training. There are different levels. You start and the camera moves to the correct position. It will choose the correct tool, and it will highlight, you know, if you have 6 screws to tighten, it will show you exactly in which sequence, and then you gain the next level once you grasp it, and then, okay, you have to find your position, you have to choose your tool, and so on, until you're graduated virtually, which means when the actual car comes to the station, everything is prepared. And that's a nice image, and also about assembling assets, because if you miss them out, the production is going to halt. And that's really the essence of industrial production. Be prepared, work smart and efficient. That means you assemble it once and it's done, instead of reworking and trying and communicating and starting the image production, and you have 3/4 of the car. So this is a good image, in my opinion, for illustrating that and the flow of CGI production as a mind image. So this is really what, as mentioned before, the next 10 years will be about. It's about storing and sharing the assets, because there are a lot of people, not only CGI people, there are so many people that might need assets. Volvo Cars is one thing, but we do have quite a few other clients with more soft values, like beautiful vases or tables, chairs, you name it. And everyone should be able to find this asset and use it. So this is a big one. So in essence, it's no big deal. You have a model, you have a number of shaders, and you use it on your model, and it's simple as that, right? Yeah. But here we have a few things like, are we going to use VR scans? What are we going to use on all these? Like, we might want to take our assets into, we have a preferred production pipeline with V-Ray. We want to keep it, of course, but we might want to try out other things. We might want to go into virtual world. We might want to transcend into something else that we don't know at this point. That's going to happen in 3 years. So this is really a breaking point about how do you tackle the future. Because if you have a storage with 10,000 models, if it becomes obsolete, you're going to end up having a problem as well. So these are key questions for the next coming years to be able to handle large quantities of assets and being flexible. So our vision is to make these things no problem. We're not done yet, far from it, but we have it as a thesis to be able to be flexible at all points. And basically this, most of you guys know Fabriken, it's the factory. So here we should be able to share and store all the textures, all the shaders, and all the models. So it can be shared. Anyone can use it. Different production companies, stylists can pick their favorite prop for the production, and they can create, you can build a number of applications, but it's really about, recreating and store assets for the future. So, to sum it up, I think this is the topics that will, be very important, and it's going to take time for the business. Not the business. We're fairly beyond our clients most of the time regarding technology and visuals. It's the communication and all those aspects of the actual image production, what have you, the VR solutions, and you want to be very efficient and not redo the assets for different applications. So this is really what it's about. This guy again, he did it on himself. He tried to lean on himself to become more efficient, and it's very interesting if you Google Niklas Modig lean on himself on TED Talk. You're gonna find him there, and basically it's from a human perspective, you have to have appointments with Dr. Diet, Dr. Quiet, Dr. Movement, and Dr. Happiness, which means you have to eat well, you have to sleep well, you have to move your body, and do things that makes you happy, like meeting friends, playing your PS4, or spending time with your family. It can do whatever, and the whole, if you have this as a person, you're going to be very happy. The problem is we have Dr. Deadline, and when he schedules an appointment, you have to, okay, which one, okay, is it Dr. Quiet, or Dr. Movement, or Dr. Happiness, or who will I have to reschedule? And that's the whole, so we have to build it from a human perspective, but also on a larger scale. When we do CGI production. Yeah, and just, I mentioned it before, but just briefly some of the other stuff, because now it was very hardcore and technical, but everything is hardcore and technical when it comes to CGI production, but in terms of visuals, we can be a little bit softer also. And we do work quite a bit in the real estate business, and having good assets makes you very flexible in moving the camera around, setting up your, your cameras, and the real estate brokers are very happy to see this kind of imagery also. Not only the few images that are selected from marketing that usually want to have an overview, but it becomes very soft and nice. And if you work with your assets and create them well, once and for all, they can be reused and they can be, used like this. So it goes on, and basically we do work in different fields, and we mix products and interior work quite a bit, meaning that you can solve different types of product shots and product communication, but you can also mount it in a context. And this is from one of our clients, where we create the whole catalog and their whole range of products. And it's, once it's done, it's very, if they have a need for additional imagery, it's very easy because you have everything set up. You can just choose whichever model you would like, and you can mount it wherever, and it's prepared. So it's instant. You don't have to go back, okay, what kind of material are we using, and so on. It's all stored in Fabriken with article number, and you can search it, and you can plug it into your production. And finally, for Hasselblad, they came to us and wanted to cut up one of the lenses. So it's better to do it using CGI, because they're quite expensive. So it's better to do it this way than to do it on the actual lens. Although the rest of the images obviously are used by their own cameras and produced by them. So that's kind of funny. Industriromantik.se if you need to come in contact with us somehow, and that's all.